Welcome to the Making of an Exception podcast. Today, we've got a good friend. I love this dude with my whole heart. He is the founder of Shepherd Goods, the founder of Lamb Chops, clothing, apparel, an amazing company that has been growing for years. But his name, I'll give you his name, Jordan Dye. What's up, Jordan?
What's up? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, bro. Thanks for being here. I think the world of you. I've known you over these last 3 years, being up in Minneapolis, and just seeing from a distance what you're building. Kind of a small business owner that's growing influence. Now your clothing is literally around the world. People are repping it, and just to see the brand grow, seeing you do season after season, it's kind of like watching somebody do it. Is it going to tire out, or is it going to keep going? And you keep trucking forward with new product, new ideas, and it's just been amazing to watch from a distance, but also to know you as a person, and seeing some of your journey and your family journey. So again, thanks for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Yeah, tell us just about the company that you're building, where it's at right now. What you guys are doing.
For sure. So started Shepherd Goods about 6-ish years ago. Yep. 2012.
Yep.
So kind of I was working at Phenom, which is who I partnered with on this store. But it's basically a sneaker and clothing store, and we had a print shop in the back. So started talking to the owner of Phenom about. Initially, we kind of started talking about. I was going to Bethel at the time, so we were talking about faith and.
I didn't even know you went to Bethel.
Yeah,
that's amazing.
Yeah. So I went for like 2 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, we kind of started talking about faith, and the owner of Phenom's brother was a pastor, and just kind of started. He felt like Christians kind of shove their faith down your throat, and just kind of force it on you. So we talked about the concept of doing like a clothing line with a kind of Christian backing
message,
but to kind of spark that conversation, and for not necessarily geared towards Christians, but to essentially
anybody
everybody,
out there,
but to really spark that conversation and whatnot.
Yeah.
So the name Shepherd Goods comes from Jesus, a good shepherd.
Yeah, amazing.
And that was kind of the beginning of it.
So the point of that is saying, hey, we're going to do a clothing company, but we want it to have a message and make a difference beyond just doing cool clothes.
It's funny like now, because it's like there's so much like positive and like just good messages behind clothing lines. But it felt like at the time, 5-6 years ago, and
it wasn't.
And when I was in high school and stuff, it was like a lot of guns and naked girls and stuff like that. And it's like I was, when I was in high school, I was going with my mom to these sneaker shops and stuff. And
it's like, geez.
So that was kind of some of the main reasonings of kind of getting started. And I was like, we have a print shop, we might as well try it out. Wow. And then ended up kind of just running with it.
It's amazing. So 6 years later, you've got a storefront downtown Minneapolis. You're selling online at SG Lamb Chops, and anything else right now. You just recently released a whole shorts line, which is amazing. Just talk about any other angles of the business right now that's building.
So just got back from Los Angeles, actually this morning. Did a pop-up shop out there.
Nice.
So that was like our first out-of-state pop-up shop.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
How'd it go?
It was good.
Yeah,
it was good. Yeah, it was nice. It's nice, like just, I don't know, getting our feet in the water and just
we got a bunch of friends out there too.
Yep. Yeah. So it worked out nice. LA's, it's so spread out, but it was nice. We had a solid turnout for our first one, and but that's kind of starting to try to do more of the out of state pop ups.
Yeah.
Shorts have been,
because you had been doing them locally, Minneapolis,
pretty much
all the time. I feel like that was kind of before the storefront. That was like your way to get product in front of people.
For sure. So that was leading up to it. Did a lot of the in-state Minnesota pop-ups, and then that was kind of what led me to.
What other cities you trying to go to?
So right now I'm working on Seattle, Denver, probably Phoenix, Miami, Chicago. Those are kind of the main focuses right now.
Yeah. Nice.
So
New York, go to New York, bro.
Yeah, New York too. New York too.
Nice.
So hopefully like by spring, get kind of at least a couple more of those knocked out.
All those spots. Yeah. And you're about to talk about the shorts.
Yeah. So that's been like super nice for summer especially.
Yep.
Now it's getting a little colder, so it's tougher out here. But that's part of like
people will still wear them.
No, for sure.
It's a guarantee.
That is true.
It's a guarantee. You'll look like an idiot out there with 30 below zero in the lamb chop shorts.
Right.
But they'll wear them, dude, because people are wearing these. They're all over.
Right. Yeah. No, it's been great.
Somehow my older brother in Miami has them.
Yeah, right.
Which is amazing. He's got like 3 pairs, I think.
Right. Yeah,
he's like, yo, you know Jordan Dye? I was like, yes, I know him. How do you know him? And I think it was Karasev. Shout out to
him
Jason.
And Ethan.
And Ethan.
So, shout out both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's part of also doing the pop-ups, like in Miami, Phoenix. Being able to still keep those shorts going.
Yeah. I got a question. All these shorts, they got the colors of basketball teams.
Yep.
Talk about that.
So there's like started with the Timberwolves.
Yeah. You're a huge T-Wolves fan.
Yeah. Yep.
You go to almost every game.
I try to, you know.
Yeah, even when they're out of town, you'll go to those cities. Partially because you know some of the players, but
yeah. So went to the Wolves Clippers game in LA and then Wolves Lakers last night, so that was fun. Tough losses, but
lost both of them.
Yeah, it's tough. But it's been like started with Timberwolves as kind of the main inspiration. Yeah. And then just kind of branched off of those and like did like a Vikings / Lakers colorway. So kind of,
it's genius.
Multiple markets that it reaches, and did kind of like a Bucks colorway, which is kind of like also like a little Gucci play off a little bit. So just different stuff like that. Yeah. So that's like, it's been fun. I wish I could just like design shorts nonstop, because there's like so much that you can do with them.
I remember early on, I don't know if it was early on, but some of the first gear I got, it was probably from the print shop days, and it's developed to like, there's the difference between doing your own like press and print, like out of the trunk of your car type thing, to then actually making your own clothing. What's that journey been like? Again, because anybody can go out there, print their own shirt, and say they got a business, but you're actually producing like with the zippers, like the zippers are unique to you. You're like, this clothing's being made. You're not actually sewing it, but you got people sewing for you. You traveled around the world to get some of this product. You've been out in Hong Kong looking at just in shops, like shopping for your product. What's that journey been like to make it from just like printing your own shirts to now full-fledged clothing company?
For sure. It's definitely been a journey. Definitely like learned a lot through it, through mistakes and kind of just jumping into it essentially. So I used to actually have like a seamstress in St. Paul that I would just go to the fabric store and bring her a bunch of different fabrics, and then like some shorts, or I did a lot of like shorts, button downs, and like little joggers. But at that time I was doing probably 1 to 5 of each. So that's how I started Lamb Chops. Was just doing those.
Like, so Shepherd Goods was the print, and then starting to make your own clothes was Lamb Chops.
So that's actually where the name actually kind of came from. I wanted to play off of Shepherd Goods, and kind of go along with that. But the name kind of came from like the cut and sew or the chop and sew. So just essentially from scratch. But yeah, that's been like, I enjoy that stuff a lot more because it's like I get to be able to create the cut of it and all that.
The fit.
So like the sweatpants and shorts and sweatshirt and stuff are all just, you
got chains, you got everything.
For sure. So
that's amazing.
It's to me it's a lot more fun because I have a lot more like freedom to create with that. Whereas like for a lot of screen printed and stuff like that, it's just like getting a blank shirt and printing it. And like you said, it's like, and I feel the same way. It's like anybody can do that. Which sometimes gets frustrating because it's like there's certain pieces where it's like I'll just like, this is a blank with a embroidery on it. And it's like one of these, the little micro sheep hoodies are like one of the best sellers, but it's like I don't feel like I really did much for it.
You don't feel like
which it's like it's part of the branding and everything, but I would much rather, you know, do the shorts and the make my own.
And that part of it's taken off.
Yeah. So that's been really nice. And that's part of the issues with that is like the minimums and stuff like that. So like
how to scale.
Yep.
And not be bankrupt while you're scaling.
Right. So that's been fun. I started working with this manufacturer in China about 2.5-ish years ago.
Yeah. You flew there. How did you find that
I went out
place?
there. So there's Alibaba. Have you ever heard of that?
Yeah.
It's basically
totally. Drop ship.
Yeah, just kind of spent a couple years, honestly, just going through it, checking out different ones, getting samples from different ones. Yeah. And then finally found one that I really liked. And it was fun, like going out there and like meeting everyone out there. And they just like, it was like the most, they were so hospitable, like took us out took us to like this karaoke spot and like
they're like ready to
massages and stuff. No. And, like they're like first night we're no business, like we're taking you guys out.
That's amazing.
So it was a lot of fun, like, and then being able to go see, I mean, there's just so much out there. It's just like blocks and blocks of just fabric shops and so it's like it's fun. I really want to go back. It was like an amazing experience.
And you're still working with them.
Yep. So
are they the ones that make the little cleavers and like?
So they do like the zippers. They do like all the pants, the shorts, like the side zipper sweatshirts, all that stuff essentially.
Amazing.
So yeah, they're awesome. They do a really good job.
Yo, that's crazy. What are some of the things that you're dreaming about for this business, like in the future, I mean, or is it just keep trucking, you know, season after season?
I would say a little bit of just keep trucking, but also like the out of state pop-ups are kind of like the biggest focus right now. Yep. And just expanding that, especially having the shop in Minnesota as kind of a home base now. Yeah. As well as online.
Yeah, you don't have to pop up here because you're always open.
So that's really nice. And then, I mean, we have the flexibility of being able to do like events and essentially pop-ups at the shop. So it's that has been like really nice with that. Yeah.
How did you get into like the fashion world, like wanting to deal with clothes? Like there's not a lot of people that are like, yeah, let me go pick out my own fabric and take it to this sewing lady in St. Paul to make my own like little button down shirt. Right. Like, nobody's doing that. For sure. Know? So the fact that you got into that is insane. But then also talk about your style of like the streetwear style that you have, you know, when I look at it, but also look at who's wearing it. I mean, you're with like athletes wear it, like hip hop artists wear it. I mean, well-known people, I mean, that are wearing it. Like there's just a specific style. I'm sure it's just true to who you are, but how did you go about picking the style you wanted?
So I'd say, like getting into it to start. So my dad was a huge Chicago Bulls fan. Grew up in Chicago. So I was born like a month after they won their first championship.
No.
So or when MJ was on. Jordan. So yeah, I was named after Michael Jordan.
No.
So then like my dad like would buy me all Jordans growing up.
Is your middle name Pippen?
No. No, Daniel.
Tell me. Okay. All
right. But yeah, it was funny because like he'd buy them like as I was growing up and like in middle school and stuff, and then Michael Jordan retired, and it was like my dad thought that they were gonna stop making Jordans basically. Yeah. So like bought like that year's for like a couple years out of or a couple sizes out. No. And then it's funny like now it's like there's a new
Jordan every time.
50 new Jordans coming out every weekend.
Yeah.
So that was like really how I got into it, because then that turned into I just was big into shoes in high school, and which translated into clothing as well.
I guess I'll let you finish asking the question, but I've got more questions.
Yeah, go ahead. No,
talk about the style too. Like, I guess part of it's like Jordan shoes and all that, but the style that it's speaking to athletes, hip hop artists, all of that. I mean, it's just streetwear. Do you think you'll ever grow out of that? Will it always stay true to you? Will it stay true to now the brand is a brand? You know.
I think it definitely will evolve. Like I haven't done much as far as like more button downs and stuff since like those first ones. And those ones were like very different. They're like very just, I would go like find the craziest patterns I could find basically. Yeah. And again, those I started kind of making for myself, just like, you know, some random pieces. And that's actually when I kind of started getting in with like a lot of the hip hop artists and stuff. Cause I made like my first batch of like shorts and button downs, and like I remember it was like a couple of the shorts didn't even have like one of them had like one pocket or like one side pocket, and like just random, like it was just like all over the place. And Mac Miller and his people were in town like the weekend after I picked him up. And so, and my buddy like did a lot of his DJ's after party stuff. So we like went and picked him up and brought him around that weekend. And
so you knew him, and he just passed away.
Yeah. It was, I didn't know Mac as well. I met him a couple times.
But you know some of his crew. Has there been any connection like since then with those guys?
Yeah,
just how they're processing.
I ran into his like manager and kind of his right hand man actually when I was in California this last weekend. It's, I don't know, it's tough because it's I see like a lot of like my friends in that. Like he just has like a very close friends group, and they did everything together, and we're just like, you know, just having a good time. And then it's just like, I can't imagine. Again, I've met him a couple times, but it was not like super close with him. But like to see how they interacted and stuff was just like, I can't imagine like losing one of my friends like that, because I know how close they were.
His family,
And again, it's one of those kind of came out of nowhere. And
I'm sure it's just shocking. You know, and some of the world that you get to see and the reach that you have, the influence that you have, is for sure in a world that I don't have that same reach, you know. But do you see a lot of guys struggling with the same type of stuff that Mac was, like just battling, you know, just living it up, but also trying not to kill themselves, you know?
Yeah, I would say it's like, especially in that realm more so, or just like in the entertainment industry, it's tough. Especially when, you know, it's like you come up and all of a sudden, like for Mac, I mean, he was 14, 15 and starts blowing up, and then it's like you have everything at your fingertips and all the money you could ever imagine, all that, and it's just like, you know, once you kind of fall into that, and tough to break free of that and whatnot. So
I'm sure. I mean, especially being young, you get all this money, all this fame, anything's at your fingertips. You know, it's easy for somebody just disconnected from that world to go, oh man, he's just living in sin and got what he got, you know. And hopefully there's nobody saying that, but I think there's an attitude sometimes like, they're living it up. What did you expect type thing. But I think it's easy to forget, like, man, if you were 14 years old and you had millions of dollars come into your bank account, and you had, with that, the pressures of people around you that are grasping for what you got and grasping to know you, and then the fame, you know, what does people do with that? I'm a firm believer that humanity, we were not created to carry any level of fame on our own, you know. That's a God thing, you know, and we deflect anything that would come to us. We got to deflect. And when we as humans start letting that creep in on us, you know, I'm not saying that people are grasping for it. Some people are grasping for that fame and that money, but even when it comes at you and you didn't even really ask for it, it just, you have it. And you don't know to deflect. I mean, it's a killer. I mean, it literally is, because we weren't made to hold fame like that, because we weren't made to be worshiped. You know, we were made to worship. You know, so it's just that's a tough thing. And I know that you knew him and you know some of that crew, and it's crazy. I was going to ask you on a different topic. Here's a world I don't understand at all. I have no idea, like a world I know nothing about, and it's the sneakerhead world. So you know it, you're in it, you understand how it works, but I just don't get it. I don't understand how I see 14-year-old kids wearing Fear of God shoes. Like how does it happen? Or Jordans. I mean, you got kids walking around with $2,000 shoes on their feet feet. How does that happen? Where do they find that stuff? How do we know about the releases of this?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not even trying to get in on it because because it's too much money. But I'm just saying, what is that? What is that world? I don't know anything about it.
I was like, I can't speak on it as much now because it's like I haven't really been in that as much, and it's
bro,
like
you got Jordans
so
on your
different.
feet right now, dog.
So these are I bought them in high school.
Okay.
So in high school I was like super into it.
Yeah.
So like I would be camping out and again it was very different then. Like I would show there'd be 1 or 2, maybe 3 releases a month. Yeah. Versus like now it's like I maybe more I guess, but now there's just so many you can't even keep up.
Out. Yeah.
But it was like. It was a lot of fun because it was like we'd go, me and 1 or 2 of my buddies would go to Mall America, camp out from like 4 or 5 till 6 or 7. They would open a little early and get the shoes, and it'd be a lot of times it was like the same group of people. Yeah. So like, and at that time it was like there's maybe like 25, 30 of us that like would kind of be throughout. So for like most of high school, it was a lot of fun just doing that. And there's, I mean, there's so many sneaker websites and stuff to like keep up.
Yeah, somebody was telling me like, I got this app and it's it's like this, you know. So I didn't pay full price for them.
Right,
like,
now it's crazy. There's all kinds.
Yeah, so
of
are
like
you saying you paid more than full price? Because, it's just crazy.
So like it's a whole another thing.
It's
now.
a business.
And then Instagram and stuff like this. When I was collecting, it was before Instagram was really even a thing. So it was like it was so much like to find a pair of shoes that you were like really looking for was like so much. Now it's like just look on Instagram, I can find it somewhere. Yeah.
How many pairs of shoes do you have? Don't lie to me.
Probably like 225.
225 pairs of shoes. Where the heck do you put those? Where are they? They can't be in your house.
No, I got probably 40. Probably
you have a storage
50
facility
at my place,
for
and
your shoes?
the rest are like at my
shop?
parents' place in Denver.
Oh, at your parents' place.
And then a little bit in
200
Seattle.
And some in Seattle.
Kind of spread out.
This is what people do with money. They put them in banks' offshore accounts, and you're putting shoes. This is insane. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah, it's a world I know nothing about. I mean, I got 4 pairs of shoes, and I wear them until they're worn out.
It's
and
funny
then
now. I
buy
wear
a new pair.
pretty much the same shoes every day. So it's like,
what are you doing with it? I guess it's an investment too.
There are some like, now that it's like winter and stuff, or like fall, winter, I'll start wearing more of them. Like summer, it's just like, I don't know, just wear Vans every day.
Yeah, I mean, you could wear a new pair of shoes every day. And
there was a little stretch in high school where I was like trying to do that, and then I was like, this is probably doing a little too much.
Too stressful. Yo, that's insane, bro. Okay, so tell me about your upbringing, your family life, and all that. Just love to hear. Just obviously this podcast, the making of an exception, the fact that you live in the way you are, scaling a business. And in a world that you are, even the fact that, you know, talk about the Mac Miller story and stuff like that. I mean, you're in rooms that sometimes are pretty tough, but you're trying to be a light in those rooms. I know you well enough to know that. But, you know, how were you raised? Because that's what this is too. Is like, what's the faith component in the fact that you're in a world that you are, but you love Jesus, you know, which is amazing. But and I know your family a little bit, but tell those that listening that don't know, what kind of family were you raised in? Raised in the church and all that. So
I would say, like that's probably the biggest. So I was raised in a Christian family. Both my parents, my dad's dad was a pastor.
Your grandpa was a pastor?
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So like, I don't know that I would be able to be doing what I'm doing right now. Without that foundation. Yeah. Because again, like you see these instances where it's, you know,
it gets crazy.
And, you know, when I lived in Los Angeles and stuff like that, there's been times where I felt like I'm kind of slipping away and have always just had that foundation there. So that's been huge. Like I don't know if I'd be able to be doing this and without that foundation.
What was it like as a kid growing up? Like, and really like personally, your like relationship with the Lord, like this is how I'm being raised, but at what point is it real for you? And then also as you're going in and probably some places at times growing up as we all were, every person listening has been in a place that they knew they shouldn't have been. So we've all been there. But now you got this voice in your head going, you shouldn't be here type thing. But yeah, what was it like, through middle school, high school, stuff like that?
So I would say, like growing up, I went to like private Christian school pretty much from kindergarten through college.
Yeah.
So like growing up, it was very sheltered in a way, I guess, obviously. But also it was nice because I went to a small Christian high school and it was like right down the street from the public one. And
a
lot of my friends were there.
Yeah, you were connected.
So it was nice. I had like Coop and Colin were both at
shout out.
Yeah, shout out Colin, shout out Coop.
If you need a fitness trainer.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Colin Cruz.
So that was really nice. Like again, having that foundation, being just going to a Christian school, having that nonstop. There, which I would say going into college was also, again, I went to Bethel, so it was also still kind of sheltered in. And
school,
at that time, it was like, I think I felt like I was getting so much just like in classes and stuff that I was like, wasn't going to church as much as I would have liked to at the time. I went to Vespers a couple times, but
so you're saying since it's been baked in for your entire life, now as you're living your life, you're just kind of out of it because everything else is it's just been ingrained in
so
your life.
I'd say it was kind of like because again I grew up in that like my whole life, so it was just came natural. And then my parents moved right after college. So once that was up, once we stayed at my parents' house for like a year after that. Me and a couple buddies. And then once that was up, I was like, I either gotta find a place to live in Minnesota or my buddy had an open room in Los Angeles. So I went out to Los Angeles for a year. And I would say that's like when I really, like my faith really became my own. Like the house I was living at got pretty hectic. We had like a studio there, so we had a lot of like rappers and producers and stuff that were in and out. So it was like there'd be nights where it's like 20, 25 people. And then you wake up and it's another 20 different people.
That's crazy.
So like that was
illegal substances everywhere. No, I'm kidding. It's crazy.
So
it got hectic. It got hectic. Okay.
Yeah. So that was like, again, I was like really the only one with outspoken faith.
It's not to knock them, but
right. Yeah,
for you and your journey,
a lot of them are super great people and everything. But
not to knock them, but you are the only one trying to live for Jesus in this house.
So I would say like the first handful months was I just kind of was out there, whatever. And then that's when I really kind of started feeling the need to get back into it. Tugging on.
What was that feeling like? Is it
just feeling empty? Just feeling frustrated, just down.
And in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I know what I need.
Right. 100%. So again, coming back to that foundation.
So what did you do? You got plugged in somewhere?
So I started going to Mosaic out there.
Amazing.
So I really like Erwin.
Pastor Erwin McManus. Yeah, great.
I never really got connected in there though. And I like, if I'm just like on my own, I usually am like pretty just like to myself. So I was just going solo and then I'd go in and leave right after basically. So I never really got plugged in. But then Luke and Alex came out, kind of at price about 6 months.
We're giving shout outs all day long.
All kinds of shout outs.
Luke Chafin, Alex Cruz.
Right. So I came in, we went to Hillsong. And knew Mikey, the youth pastor. So I got connected in with him and became really good friends with him. And then that was like, it was like a very life-changing, just, it was the first time I really like enjoyed going to church, like on my own, I would say. Like I was going morning and night sometimes, like driving through LA.
Amazing, something has to be real happening for you to do that.
So it was, and then again, it was, started getting more plugged in there, meeting more people and stuff. And so that, I mean, just having that, the people surrounding you, that was huge for me.
Rolling with good people.
And then it was cool because it was like I would be going to church and coming home, and then a lot of these guys would start asking me about it, and a couple of them actually came with me a couple of times to Hillsong, and
amazing.
So it's cool. It was like you could really see it in that. Just how moving faith it can be, and how like.
Did getting plugged in, getting with the right people, being at church, you know, the feeling of feeling empty, the feeling of being down, how did, and even living in that house, you know, where can be discouraging and just seeing the wrong things, being around the wrong things, whatever, like it's just a tough spot. Did your life outside of church start to change too? Like feeling better? Like, I don't know how you're processing or feeling.
Yeah. I would definitely, I mean, again, it's like you're around 20 something people. So like, I felt like before it was like, it would be a lot easier to just get, you know, fed up with some people or, you know, push your buttons the wrong way or something. And then I just felt a lot more patient, a lot more happy, just, and
crazy.
And then I started hanging out with Mikey a lot more. And it's, again, that's just kind of just having those.
Mikey Wan was doing youth stuff at Hillsong, right?
Yep. Yeah. So, that was like really, really big for me. And again, just that was like the first time that I really had to make faith my own, and I wasn't surrounded by, like, I was at Bethel, everybody around me is
everybody's Christian. Yeah.
So it's like it was good. I think it was really good for me.
It's interesting, like, not that you wish this on people, but like a season of, like, you grow up in church. Again, so now I've got 2 daughters, so I don't know where I would stand in wishing this on my daughters, but like, they're going to grow up in it. They're going to grow up in church. They don't have a choice. They're in my house, you know, but just knowing that going to a place where you got to stand on your own, and figure out what you believe on your own, for you, obviously it solidified this faith that you were raised in, you know. For other people, it doesn't always work like that, where it's an off the rails situation.
For sure.
Which is tragic, but it's just crazy how being on your own and having to stand on your own and doing some of that searching, that it can actually solidify. And now it's an unshakable thing. You know who you are, in Christ. And I know it's a churchy thing, but like, you know that you're following Jesus, and you're doing the best you can. And, which is awesome, you know? And so I think it's so cool to see, but I think about my daughters, like, no doubt it's not about wishing. They will have moments where they got to stand on their own. You know?
Right. Totally.
And I'm just hoping, I don't know the best way as a parent to raise them in a way where when they get to that point, they're set up for the best success, you know? But hopefully it solidifies that for them, this is also what they stand for too.
Right, totally.
What was your relationship like with your parents in just growing up and just getting into the world that you're getting in, and even being on your own, feeling some of that stuff? Like, obviously I know they're proud of you now. Like, I know them, you know, they're just pumped about your life and your business, all that you do, and they've always loved you, no doubt. But, you know, were they trying to speak into your life, as their son, or were they always like, go, we love you, you know?
I would say, like, especially as I got older, like high school and college, I feel like I started getting more, you know, saw the people that I was around and stuff, and you know, being able to be a light to them. I think they saw that and really appreciated it, I think, and were very encouraging, which was great.
Totally.
And still, you know, still are, obviously. But yeah, there was never any, like, I mean, you know, in high school and stuff, my dad was always didn't want me to listen to rap music and stuff. So it's like, you know, that kind of transition now, it's like hanging out with them and stuff and going to their shows versus, like,
your dad rolls with you.
No. I'm just saying, like, going to these rappers, going, like, hanging out with these rappers and going to their shows and stuff. But again, it was, you know, I understand that, and because I was still in high school and stuff, and that it does make an impact on you, what you're listening to and stuff.
No doubt.
So that was, you know, I would say that
some of that
more
stuff,
of
like
the extent of it, like that type of stuff. But no, I've always been extremely supportive of just that lifestyle and everything.
Yeah.
And
because some parents, when that's happening, it's like they're coming down, like
right.
like not having this and always calling and always, but to have parents that see, man, could God get a hold of my child, and could they be used to be a light in this dark place? And we're going to choose to celebrate that versus be afraid of that. I mean, props to them. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, it really is. And it's cool because they've met a lot of these people too, and, you know, are able to see the impact, make an impact themselves and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
Man, I know some parents out there where their son or daughter gets hooked up with a tougher crowd or just a different crowd, you know, and it's instant judgment on them, and also just I don't know if it comes out of a fear of like, what if this takes my child down the wrong road, but also just hearing this story of your parents, you know, and how they it's like they knew the amount of like space to give you, but also the amount of love and affirmation and concern at times to give you, that somehow it worked, you know?
Right. Yeah, I was like, I remember one time they actually came and visited the house in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And it was like, I remember they went down into the studio and it was just like, guy passed out down there and just, you know, I've been smoking all night and just reeked, and, you know, they just kind of joked about it, but you know, they trusted me and stuff, and it was funny. Like my mom always kind of jokes about that and stuff like that, but it's
obviously they're not approving of that lifestyle,
right,
but
you know, like,
but they're like, it's just crazy. There's a level of like, it reminds me about Jesus. Like Jesus was hanging out with tough people, you know, and you know, again, your parents are laughing about it or whatever. They're not winking at the sin, but they're just like, you know, to even be a person that's comfortable to walk in there and not to like, dude, what are you doing? All this, you know? Again, Jesus was hanging out with the toughest people, and all the religious mindset people were accusing Jesus. Why would he hang out? The story of Zacchaeus is classic. It's like Zacchaeus, this tax collector. He was a criminal, really, like stealing from people. That's what he was doing. And the religious people, Jesus comes to this town and he goes, I'm going to Zacchaeus' house. You know, I'm going to go hang out with him. And in Zacchaeus' house, he has a whole heart change and pays back everybody that he ever stole from. And he's like, I'll give 4 times back, like whatever it takes, you know? So one meal with Jesus, amazing, you know? But everybody on the outside, the religious people, are going, why in the world is Jesus, especially if he's claiming to be the Son of God, hanging with these criminals, you know? And there's something to that. How do we live that way without falling into the trap of living
right
like those criminals, or those, you know? It's not everybody's a criminal, but
For sure.
just without falling away from the Lord or having some of our foundation crack, you know? It's just a thought. Like, and again, it just makes me almost in awe of how your parents have handled like your upbringing and the freedom, but also the care and the prayer for your life. And again, you've come out of this solidified, you know, and life's not over, but we keep moving forward, like, and your faith is strong, you know, which is amazing. So I'm just talking a lot about your parents.
Yeah, they're great.
I know. Let's keep doing it though, because a couple of years ago, your mom got in a pretty tough accident, so I love just share the journey of what your family's been on, going through. I mean, she's still alive and she's doing well. There have been some miracle moments as well.
Yeah, a lot of them.
But yeah, what happened?
So basically, my parents were up in the mountains in Denver, about a year, coming up on 2 years now, I guess. But yeah, my mom has never really been big like action sports or anything kind of person. But they were going snowmobiling. And wanted my mom to try it. So she kind of hopped on and was gonna just go around the neighborhood a little bit, or in like the little cul-de-sac. And again, it's up in the mountains, so there's a lot of snow up there and stuff. But she, you know, hit the acceleration and kind of jumped. So she kind of instinctively just hit it harder. So just kind of full speed, went right off a snowbank, and then right into like head first into a tree. So yeah, it's like it's pretty crazy.
Where were you when you got that call?
So I was in Seattle. I was at a bar watching the Seahawks playoff game with I was actually had a couple buddies out there. You know Matt Bosin? I kind of think
I don't know if I know
him. So he was out there, and then a couple of my other buddies. But I just remember I got the call, and my dad was just like, you know, extremely shaken up, and like, so I didn't know, like the way he left it, I like didn't know if she was even gonna make it. I mean, he didn't know, you know, he didn't know either at that time.
Like it had just happened.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it was cool. Matt kind of came and just like grabbed all of us, and we just in the middle of the bar just like prayed there. And but yeah, it was also it was like the worst thing that could happen, but there's so much like in that time that happened that was like happened to go right.
Yeah.
So like I was in Seattle, my sister lives in Seattle, so we were able to catch a flight like
together.
Yep. Like 8 hours later or something. Then it was like, again, if she would have hit it a little more head on, she had one of those huge helmets on that just like shattered. If she would have hit it more straight on, probably either would be dead or paralyzed.
Yeah.
Happened just like landing like a couple feet of snow versus on the pavement.
Yeah.
And then it was just like the guy whose house it was at was just like on top of it. Like him and my dad basically just like kind of went alongside her and like made sure, because you know I didn't know if her neck was broken. Yep. And just kind of essentially coached her through breathing that whole time. Because again, they're up in the mountains, so they're waiting for the ambulance, and he was like, no, we need an airlift for that. And it was like there just happened to be a flight for life helicopter going, like that was just like passing by on and they were done for the day.
They were just flying home?
Yeah, they were like done for the day, and it was like, you know, going back to
base.
I think which was a couple hours. Like if they would have been back, I mean, it probably, again, you never know. But they took her down in the ambulance, and then actually shut down the highway, transferred her into the helicopter, and then got her to the hospital. And then again, it's like she was in the emergency room for a month. Wow. And it was like the first week was just like, I mean, she couldn't talk.
Didn't know,
yeah. I mean, she had like a breathing tube and all that stuff. And it was tough, like just especially like seeing my dad like that too. Just like, you know, so shaken up. And but again, like we were able to be out there as a family right away. And all be together. Like my sister was pregnant at the time. And she was able to be out there that first month basically.
Wow.
But yeah, it was a lot of just kind of like waiting and not knowing.
Were you out there that whole month?
Yeah. So I just
you canceled everything.
Yeah, I stayed for that first like, so she was in like the emergency or whatever for like a month, and then transferred to this Craig Hospital, which is so again, that was what I was getting into, is like the head, spinal, and brain. So she had a brain injury. Yeah. So it's like 15 minutes from their house. So they basically send somebody to kind of go check on patients in the ER. And like they said, the biggest things are like patient support, or their health before the accident. Yeah. And then like kind of the support system around them. Yeah. Is how they pick basically who, because they only have a limited number of beds at this place. Yeah. And I mean, my dad was there from 5, 6 a.m. till 1 a.m. because they wouldn't let him sleep there after like the first night. Wow. And then my sister and I would kind of switch back,
rotating,
being there, and then taking care of my sister had a son or
Yeah.
already had a son at that point.
Yeah.
So we were switching off, taking care of him and all that. So it was definitely a tough time. But also, again, I think that another time that really grew my faith, and again, having a support system. Ethan and Sam were like huge during that time for me. Like talk to them basically every day. Just, getting, talking about it, whatnot, praying together, stuff like that. So I stayed out there for that first month. Then once she got transitioned into the other hospital, it was more of like the rehab and so I actually flew back, and drove my car back out with Ethan so I could get all my inventory and stuff for my business. And Coop basically like ran everything while I was gone and just was shipping everything from my house back home and stuff like that. So that was like super helpful. But then so it was total like 3 months in the hospital.
Wow.
But it was so crazy, like to go from like the emergency to this like rehab facility essentially, and it was just like, I mean, when she went in there, couldn't talk, couldn't do anything, and she had to get a trach in, so that was part of it. But it was like in the first couple of days of being in this this like brain rehab, it was like went from not like started being able to talk and was just kind of like all over the place, didn't know what was going on, to like 2 months later, like, almost back to normal,
back to herself.
I mean, she's pretty, it's like crazy. Cause like when it first happened, it was like, they said, you just don't know with brain injuries, what you're going to get back. And don't know if, not recognize you or, stuff like that. So that was my dad was pretty like,
that'll mess you up. Yeah, no doubt.
But I mean, from the jump, like she was even when she couldn't like talk or anything, you could tell like, and there she could, before she had to get, because about a week in, they had to re-intubate her, which that was probably honestly the hardest day other than like that first one, because it was like, just didn't know. But it's.
Yeah, when they're doing that, are you kind of like thinking we got to say goodbye just in case type thing?
I would say that maybe a little bit on those days, but it was like it was crazy because like I would have thought that I would be more. I felt pretty calm overall in the whole situation, and pretty like, I don't know. I remember talking to Ethan about it a lot, just being like, I never would have expected something like this to happen, to someone this close to me. And like, never did it cross my mind, like, why did this happen? Or like, it was always, it was always like, she's still here. She's still kicking it. She's still progressing. So that was like, I mean, again, having that foundation, having those people around was like very helpful in that situation too. Just going through all that and whatnot. But definitely it's crazy though, like how from that, like I had a lot of people, like a lot of friends that text me like at one or two that were like, I haven't prayed in years, but like, I know that's what you believe. And that's like, I'm praying for you right now. And
wow.
I mean, it's just like insane how much like, from the Carrying Bridge that my dad did. Just like the response on that and just how many people, and it's funny. Like I remember when my mom was like first getting home, she was like, wow, like this is all this, like support, response, support. And she's like, that makes me want to be like one of those people.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, that's why these people are showing you the support and loving you so much, is because you are that person. Like,
yes.
She just is always like wants to help out. And and like even just like right after being done at the hospital and stuff. And
wow.
But again, it's like, it's crazy. Like I had no idea where she would be a year into it. 2 years into it, whatever. and she's like already way beyond what I like would have thought, honestly.
Yeah, I talked to her, whatever, it was a few weeks ago or a couple months ago when they were in town. And you wouldn't know. I mean, she's high energy and like so nice. And she like gave me a big old hug.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
It's like the nicest, like such a great mom. So yeah, it is a miracle, the fact that she's alive. And again, I love what you're saying, that in those moments, it's the worst moments, you know, kind of like when you're standing on your own in faith, living in that house, you know, like those are two tough moments in life. But again, it can either take people off the rails or it can solidify their faith. And I just don't know. I don't know what the difference is. And I think it's a personal thing to each person. Like, but for you, both of those situations pushed you into solidifying that, you know, that God's real. You know that he's rescued you. You know that he's doing a miracle in your mom's life, in your life. You know that that's who you want to give glory to, like in your business, your success, the reason why you're trying to be light in the dark, you know, and not running from that. Yeah, and I just don't know what that is in people that, you know, we could be sitting here and it could be a different person. And it's like when you were on your own, it took you off the rails. When your mom got in an accident, took you off the rails, you know? So I don't know if you have an answer to what that is on the inside that makes you lean one way or the other besides, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say just being raised with that faith and being like so confident in it. I would say it's part of it, I guess. If
no, totally.
Answer somewhat.
No, I'm with you.
But yeah, and again, having that support system is like, I think, I don't know how anyone could go through that without having like
people,
not only just people, but just like, well, people in general, but like just, you know, people with faith and people from that have, you know,
it's
just like
Jesus, praying for you, calling you,
really makes a difference. Just like having that confidence, I guess, in that healing power versus you know, just like, well, hope she gets better. Like thinking about you, which is good, you know, it's still like that still means a lot to like hear that from somebody, but I don't know, it's just like a different
there's a different level,
like having someone pray for you.
It literally is a different power.
Yeah,
it is a different power. That's amazing, dude. Man, the journey, the story, and your upbringing it's amazing. Going back to your business and what you're building, I asked you this earlier, but even just going into it again, like, what are you hoping for this next season? I mean, you could be in stores, you could be, I mean, and you are, I mean, you got your own store, but I mean, what route do you want to take this business down? And even outside the business, what are you hoping for your life over the next few years?
For sure. I would say, as far as the business, so I have two more years at the shop. And I'm kind of like in between on how I want to go. If I want to do more wholesaling to other stores or do more of like pop-ups and my own stores and stuff in the future. I think I'd rather go more to that side and be able to have just essentially more creative control with that, and not really have to like keep up with what other stores are wanting necessarily. So I think that's part of it, like just doing more of the pop-ups, more like events at the shop, and and just like creating an experience too, which is something I haven't done as much as I would like to. Like especially with the shop.
No, you do create experiences.
No, I know, but just like
your pop-ups, like you got DJs in there, and you got I saw on Instagram the last one. You had basketball, basketball competition.
Some more stuff like that. Like had the little Papa Shot and just
Papa Shot.
So like a little contest.
Who won?
Oh, Ethan clean house.
Chef E, man.
I think he was the only one to get over 100, and he had like 3 or 4 over 100.
Yeah, but I wasn't there. I missed it, but I would have won.
I agree. I think so too.
All right. So just fighting words for Chef. He'll listen to this.
But yeah, then I would like to start doing the out of state pop ups, but then eventually doing out of country.
Yep.
Stuff like I was just at Complex Con, which is just a big music and clothing convention essentially.
Yep.
So having like a booth at that type of thing.
Yes.
Doing more, again, just more like event experience type stuff, just to not only have like a clothing piece to provide to somebody, but you know,
an experience.
Give them to be able to connect with other people. Have a feeling that goes with it essentially.
Yeah. I think that is your heart for people. Like I think creating a brand and a product and all that, and you could do the wholesale thing, and it's very much business. But there's something in you, and my guess is it has to do with your faith and how you were raised. This whole thing, following Jesus, has everything to do with people. So making a difference in people's lives. And there's a lot of nice people out there that aren't living for Jesus, and they're good people and they care about people. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying with faith, I bet you it's because of the way you were raised and who your parents are that, you want to create an experience for people. It's not enough just to do business. It's not just enough to make money or to be a recognized brand, but to create an experience for people. And so I appreciate if that's the direction you go, I appreciate that conviction to stick to that because it's about people. Yeah, it's awesome.
I think it's just easier, like just to be able to tell the story. That's part of also, I would say, is like getting the story more behind it.
Yes.
Too.
Yeah, you're right.
And just telling that story more. I don't think I've done
Why is it called
a good enough job.
Why is it called, like what's the, and I think you have done a good job, by the way.
For sure. But I just think there's a lot more that could be done. Essentially.
Totally. And dude, as this thing continues to explode, let me know how I can help on that faith side and telling the story. Seriously, because I'm all about. But that's partly what this podcast is.
Yeah. No, I mean,
there is. It's not just me putting it on that. Like you, that's why you started it. You know, and that's what you're doing. And so I think that's true. Doing the more experienced thing allows you to share the story of, there is a good shepherd out there. And you have proof. Partly because of your own life, but partly because of what your mom went through.
Yep.
There's a good shepherd out there,
for sure.
And it's crazy, dude. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks for being on the podcast. Thank you. And 2 quick questions as we close. What's your favorite book of all time? If you got a favorite book,
that's a good one. I like that question. I would say I have a couple at this point. I've always read man, I can't even think of the name of it now because it's like a bunch. It's like Poor Broke, like Broken.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
No. It's this. It's a rapper. There's 2 brothers that were rappers that were in a group called the Clips. Pusha T and then Malice is the other one.
We'll find this book and put it in the show notes.
Yeah. Cause I'm blanking on the name right now, but it's like basically of his story. They went from, their whole rap, like they rapped about basically selling drugs. Essentially, was their main, selling coke and moving coke, and then
it might not be in the show notes. I'm kidding.
No, but it goes from his transition of that and being at the top of the rap world to finding faith, and now he's a Christian rapper and
really
changed his name from Malice to No Malice, and
no way.
So it's cool. It's a really like it's cool for me to see that. For just being in that world and or just
what's it? Tissel's over there. It's called what? Wretched.
Yes, Wretched, Pitiful, Blind, and Naked.
Yeah,
that's the one.
Wow. Wretched, Pitiful, Blind, and Naked. That's the title.
So it's a very interesting book, and again, I really like autobiographies.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like for some reason, I don't know, they always intrigue me.
Stories of people's lives.
Yeah. So that I really enjoyed that one. Again, because
were you about to say a second favorite?
I really liked Brian Houston's, what is it? Live,
Love, Lead.
Yeah. That one, I really like that one.
Yeah.
I just started Atomic Habits, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah.
I think James Clear, I believe, is the guy that wrote it.
Yeah.
And then I just started Carl Lentz's book as well.
On the Moment.
Yep.
That's great.
So I'm kind of in between those two right now.
Yeah.
But those, I would say those, yeah, those
are kind of you're the first guest out of the first 18 to name 4 books.
I could keep, I wish I read more. Like, I'm a pretty slow reader.
No, it's
so
good.
like, but I, especially when I find one that like,
yeah, if you like it,
I
consume it. Yeah.
But yeah.
Second question. Here you go. I'm gonna frame it up as specific as I can. Normally I just leave it general, but the specific. Somebody that's following in your footsteps. What's one piece of advice you'd give them? But I'll take it this way. Somebody that is listening now, they were maybe raised in a Christian home, and they're living in some dark places, and they would say they want to be light in the dark, but right now where they're at, they're not. They're just being dark in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say to that person that they know because of how they were raised, but they're really just being dark in the dark? How to flip that switch? What's one piece of advice?
I would say the biggest is just finding people to surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Like that's been huge for me. I feel like every time that I kind of start slipping, it's
chef's on
finding, you know,
yeah.
That's when I really feel like I kind of just get rejuvenated, hanging out with people like Ethan, stuff like that, where it's, you know, having those conversations about, you know, stuff that's a little deeper sometimes, and about faith, and because again, if you're going into those, which I've been there, it's like you're going into those settings and you're surrounded by all people that are, you know, in those settings too. So it's like finding that balance. Because also I think it's like if you are too far the other way and only hang out with just Christian friends, and it's, you know,
you have to
be able to relate to, when you go into those rooms, be able to relate to them in some ways as well, I think.
100%. So yeah, it's not just you could be dark in the dark. There's also a bunch of people trying to be the brightest where it's the lightest.
Mm-hmm.
And
I would also,
that's not accomplishing the mission either.
Right. I would also say, like being in those settings, like having somebody with you with the same beliefs and
not rolling alone.
Yeah. I think that's probably one of the biggest. Just again, having that support system around you, and just knowing, having that foundation as well, knowing what you believe, going into those situations knowing what you believe. And essentially just not compromising those.
Yo, I think it's brilliant. That's great advice. Thanks for being on the podcast.
Yeah, of course.
I love you, bro.
Love you too, bro.
For real. Sponsor me.
Oh, easy.
Shepherd Goods, dude.
Oh yeah, easy.
No, I'll pay it, dude. I'm in, dude. I did wear a sweatshirt on Brian Ingram's episode.
I know.
So go check that out, and you can go buy that. You can go buy that at sglambchops.com.
True.
Go do it up. Love you, bro.
I love you too.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, we'd love for you to subscribe to this channel. We've got new episodes releasing every single week. We'd also love to hear your questions or comments. You can comment below. You can also find us on Instagram at Exception Podcast. And I want to give a quick shout out to our producer, Tissel. My name's Kirk Graham, and we'll see you back next week.